Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the LIEBIG LB1030G. Let's start with the wrist check. I'm wearing this Tissot with the reference number so big, I'm not going to tell it to you. And Grogu is wearing my Nepic N6026. I took Grogu, Mrs. Watchdog, and the granddaughters to see the new Disney movie Wish. Afterwards, I asked Grogu how he liked it. He said the movie was appropriately named. He kept wishing it was over. All right, let's take a look at the watch. The watch did not come in a box. I could have got a box, but it would have cost an extra $2. And personally, I'd rather have $2 in a box. Especially since the main reason I keep boxes is to put the extra links in, but this doesn't have extra links. When I was young in the 70s, I remember when digital watches became all the rage. It looked like the analog watches were going the way of the dodo bird, especially in the more affordable range of watches. But in the 80s, once the novelty of the digital watch started to wear off, the analog hand slowly started returning to watches, and digital seemed reserved for the lower end of the spectrum. Then companies such as Seiko and Casio started releasing digital analog watches, combining the best of both worlds. This LIEBIG seems to be inspired by such watches, but I don't think it is a direct homage. Please correct me in the comments if I am wrong. Some digital analog watches have one movement that controls the digital and the analog with the two displays synchronized. This LIEBIG is under $10, so instead you get two movements in one, which is why you have a crown on the side to set the analog. The watch only comes in gold. You have a choice between the gold dial or the black. For an extra $2, you can get it in a box. The watch is 34.4 millimeters wide, 39.5 millimeters lug to lug. It's 10.2 millimeters thick, and it has a 19 millimeter lug width if you measure where the spring bars are attached. And it weighs 69 grams on the supplied mesh bracelet. The watch doesn't have a bezel. The case, it's all one piece. And then we have the dial. The dial is flat with no sunburst effect. We have the LIEBIG name and logo applied up top. Then it says Quartz on the bottom. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Then we have applied indices, and they are not loomed. And then we have doffing hands, and they're not loomed either. And then we have a running second hand that also is not loomed. Then on the bottom, we have the digital display. The top button is the mode button. Go ahead and press it once, and it puts you in stopwatch mode. Stopwatch is just as you expect. Start it, stop it, reset it. And I can't remember if there's split time or not, but I don't think so. Oh yes, there is split time. Then if you hit it twice, you're in alarm set mode. And then you hit it again and you're in watch set mode. And there is no dual time on the digital display. If you want dual time, you'll just have to set the analog to a different time. And there is no backlight. If you press this pusher here, it tells you what the alarm is set for and whether or not it's on or off. This one is not on. And if you press this pusher here, it gives you the date. There is no year, so this is not a perpetual calendar. So you're going to have to deal with a leap year yourself. Then we have the Caseback. The Caseback has the LIEBIG name and logo on back. The model number says stainless steel back, which is a good tell that the rest of the watch is not. And this says 3 ATM water resistant. Oh, I forgot to mention the crystal in the case. Crystal is flat mineral glass, and the case is a chrome plated alloy. Then we have underneath, I don't know what the movement is. Obviously, it's a movement that does the digital and the analog, but it does them separately. You have a crown to set the analog display. One thing I did notice though is even though the crown action isn't loose, when you go to press it in, you get a serious minute hand jump, and that's always annoying. But it seems to be a fairly predictable minute hand jump. It always jumps forward and it always jumps almost a full minute. So I guess when you go to set it, just set it a little beforehand and then it will jump. So at least it's a predictable minute hand jump. Then we have the bracelet. The bracelet's a mesh bracelet. And it's nice though because it's not a hair puller, because you're never going to get any hair in here because it's so tight. One thing though is when I unwrapped it, I bent it a little bit here, so it's kind of fragile. You can't really see the bend though when you put it on your arm. You just notice it when it's not on the arm, so I guess that's no big deal. Then we do have spring bars, so you can replace this, and it's 19 millimeters though, where the spring bars meet the lugs. Then we have the clasp. The clasp is your typical mesh bracelet style clasp. And then you can also move this clasp up and down the bracelet. And it doesn't appear to have slots like some of them do, so you can adjust it 100% exactly how you like it. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. It looks nice. It wears nice. It's a little small on me, but that's fine though because it's era appropriate. Because you're going to get this watch if you want that 80s digital analog watch look, and these were the size they made them in back then. Then if you look though, I can probably let out the clasp another 3/4 of an inch. So about 8 1/4 is as big as you're going to go. Of course, if your wrist is that big, you probably don't want to wear this watch anyway. But it does look nice. It's very light and it's very comfortable. And once again, this mesh is not going to pull any hairs like the typical rolled link style you usually see in watches in this style. We won't be taking a trip to the loom room because there is no loom and there is no backlight. So that's going to be a gripe and groan. What do I like about this watch? Well, it has a fun retro style. It's very light and comfortable to wear. And it does have a running second hand in the analog display. A lot of these digital analog watches do not. So it's always nice to have one. What are my gripes and groans? No backlight or loom. Annoying minute hand jump when you go to set the analog. And there's no year in the digital display, so you don't get a perpetual calendar in the digital. Do I recommend this watch? If you're going for that vintage 80s Seiko or Casio look, then sure, the watch is fine for the money. But if that isn't your goal, there really isn't anything to win you over, especially with no backlight. Well, thank you for watching my review of the LIEBIG LB1030G, and I will be back with another review. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.